Welcome everybody to my channel. My name is Rainer and this is Rainier Books. I'm broadcasting this on YouTube, but I am in Stockholm, Sweden, in a very wintry country. We got so much snow last week, and last week I had to travel to Munich in the midst of this blizzard that we had. It went well. I was tired. I had some rainy but very hard-working days in Munich. But today I'm here with another video on my channel. 3 things I want to talk about. The books that I'm reading currently, some impressions from them. Then I have another thing for you. This is the New York Times published its 100 most notable books of 2022. I picked, I think, 8 of them of this list that are very interesting to me that I didn't had heard of before. And the last one is I looked at Booktube and the favorite booktubers that I have and how their channels have developed over the course of the year. So let's get started. We got a lot of things to talk about. Let's start with the books that I'm currently reading. I actually bought 2 new books when I was in Munich. In the head office, I had to go to the head office to Munich, which is a 2-hour and 15 minutes flight here from Stockholm. When I came down to southern Germany, the weather was totally different. We have a lot of snow here, and down there it was very rainy. 3 days of rain. I was 4 days actually in the city, 3 nights, and I spent a lot of time under umbrellas and stuff like that, and got pretty wet also walking the streets of München, as it is called in German. So the books that I'm reading currently is, the first one that I'm still reading is Lucy by the Sea by Elizabeth Strout, which is the 4th novel of the so-called Amgash series. It's called Amgash series because the main character, the protagonist, Lucy Barton, is a woman now in her 60s, I believe. She's a writer, she's an author herself, and she's the protagonist. She is from a place called Amgash, Illinois, which the story doesn't, the books don't see. I haven't read the first one though. No, I haven't read the second one. I read My Name is Lucy Barton. I read O. William, and now I'm reading Lucy by the Sea. Lucy by the Sea was published this year, as O. William also was. O. William was longlisted and even shortlisted for the Booker Award in the United Kingdom. But this book here, Lucy by the Sea, came shortly after, a couple of months after. O. Williams has also the same kind of art cover, so that you see that it belongs to a series. This is some years later, when William is the ex-husband of Lucy Barton. He is the father of their common 2 daughters that they have in common, that they have together. And Lucy is a widow. Her last husband died, and she's a single also, as William is, because William had another wife after Lucy. He was betraying her a couple times during their marriage, and now he is alone too. And when the pandemic starts, COVID-19, in the beginning of 2020, William calls Lucy and says, let's go to Maine. And they go to a very small place, very rural place in Maine, a very small cottage that William has rented in order to survive the pandemic, because William is a scientist. He knows that it's very dangerous. It's going to be very dangerous. And Lucy also hears the news from New York, where they both live, with people even in their circle of friends and people that they know start getting sick and even dying. So, and a lot of things happen also to their 2 grown-up daughters. Lucy by the Sea, Elizabeth Strout is an amazing author. I really am very glad that I sort of discovered her this year, and I'm reading the 3rd book dealing with Lucy Barton. That's a great pleasure. Then I bought 2 books in München, in Munich, 2 books in the German language. And one of the books, I was really glad to see it because it's absolutely fresh from print, from the publisher. The publisher in Germany is Hansa, which is a very famous publisher. And this book was translated from the French by Holger Fock and Sabine Müller. And the original title of the book is published in 2021. It's La plus secrète mémoire des hommes, the very secret memory of people, die geheime Erinnerung der Menschen. I think this is not available in English yet. This is by the Senegalese author Mohamed Mbougar Sarr and was awarded with the Prix Goncourt in France of 2021, which is the highest literary. It's like the Booker in French or in France to win the Goncourt, and it's translated into German, die geheimste Erinnerung der Menschen. And this is about, I think, a Senegalese author living in Paris, and he's supposed to write his PD thesis, but he is dreaming to be an author, and he's in long nights with his friends, he's discussing literature, hopes and desires, and then he meets a very charismatic author, Siga D, and this is going to change his life because she gives him a book called Das Labyrinth des Unmenschlichen, the Maze of the Unhuman, that was published in 1938 and sort of surprised the whole world. The author T.C. Alleman was, at the time, 1938, was celebrated as a black Rimbaud, but he was also racistically attacked, and he was also accused of having stolen the book and the content of the book. The book was destroyed, the author disappeared, and the young guy in Paris knows one thing: he has to find the author of this book that was both destroyed and where the author disappeared. This is Mohamed Mbougar Sarr, Die geheimste Erinnerung des Menschen. And if there's an English translation, I will show it here. If not, you will see an empty space and hear me and just see me pointing towards it. The second book that I bought in München, in Munich, was a book, or is a book, that I already started reading. It's one of the couple of books that I'm reading. I would say I'm into 3 books. This is Lucy Fricke, a German author, called Die Diplomatin. She's not translated, but it's a bestseller in Germany. Lucy Fricke, she was born in Hamburg. She lives in Berlin, and she has written a novel called Töchter, Daughters, and won the Bayerischer Buchpreis, the Bavarian Book Award in 2018, was translated into 8 languages, and also got a movie adaptation. This could also be coming a movie adaptation. This was published this year. Die Diplomatin with Claassen is the publisher in Germany. And here we meet an eye narrator who is a German ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, and we meet her in her first outpost as an ambassador in Montevideo, Uruguay, where things go really bad for her, and she then gets transferred to Turkey, to the consulate department, so she gets sort of she loses her status as an ambassador, and she works as a consulate in Istanbul, Turkey, and things happen there. It's a very ironic description of the work in the German Foreign Department, but also, it says a very entertaining but also revealing novel with a furious finale, and I'm very curious about the furious finale. It's very entertaining, that's what it is, after 70 pages in. The third one, because I'm always listening to one book, as you know, in recent weeks, the third one, I just bought it on my Audible last week. It's one of the crime novels that I recommended some months ago. It's one of my favorite writers, Winslow, who has written the amazing Border trilogy about about the war on drugs and with Mexico, or in Mexico and in the United States. This is Winslow, and his new novel is called City on Fire, and this plays in the 1980s in Rhode Island, the very small state of Rhode Island. It has to do with organized crime, and the main character is a young guy who probably will rise in the ranks of Irish Italo gangs on the East Coast of the United States. And as always, Winslow is a very good plotter. He's very smart in plotting books, and he is, he's very He's also a very activist author, as you might know. During the election campaign, he did he invested a lot of money in advertisements against the sitting 45th president of the United States and for the 46th president, who's now in office, Mr. Joe Biden from Scranton, Pennsylvania. These are the 3 books that I'm reading. And now to the next topic. The next topic is the most notable books of the year. 100 books get this line, this byline, when they are now advertised, wherever they are advertised. And the New York Times has chosen 100 books, and I think they will make a short list of the 10 best books of the year in a few weeks. But among those 100, there are always books that you haven't heard of anything over the course of the year. And I found actually 8 of the books that interested me really. And I would like to ask you if you have heard about them, or if you have read them, or if you want to read them, please comment down below. My suggestions from this list are the first one. So I looked mostly into fiction first, and the first one is called A Catalogue of Such Stuff as Dreams Are Made On by Dung Kai-cheung, translated from the Chinese by Bonnie S. McDougall and published by Columbia University Press on June 21 in 2022. And these are 99 sketches of life shortly, I think, during the time of the time when Hong Kong was transferred again to China in the end of the 1990s. And they always start somewhere in popular culture or in these miniature stories, begin with something from the 1990s, like consumer products that we knew in that time in the 90s, a pop culture phenomenon, and so on. And they always tell a little story, and this sounds very interesting. It's apparently from one of Hong Kong's, if not Hong Kong's, most renowned author, Dung Kai-cheung. A Catalogue of Such Stuff as Dreams Are Made On. The second book is a book that you've heard about on Booktube, but I sort of have not written it down that I want to read it, but now I wrote it actually down. It's Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver, who is a former winner of the Women's Prize for Literature. This was published by Faber and Faber on October 18 this year. And the story of Charles Dickens's David Copperfield is very well known. It's about poverty. It's about the rise from poverty. And this book is Demon Copperhead is, like the name sounds very familiar and very similar, is born in the Appalachians, in a very rural part, also in a very poor part of the United States, where many poor people live, in Virginia. It's a search and a quest for family, for belonging, and for a better life. A novel about deep poverty in our time in the US. Very interesting to me. The third one is called Didn't Nobody Give a Shit What Happened to Carlotta by James Hannahan. I haven't heard anything about it before I looked in the New York Times. It was published by Little Brown and Company on August 30 this year. And this is James Hannahan's captivating novel following the fate of a trans woman who's on parole after serving 20 years in a men's prison, mixes humor and horror as its irrepressible heroine encounters the injustices of the justice system. This is called Didn't Nobody Give a Shit What Happened to Carlotta. Number 4 is a book by an author I've read before. I read Dominicana by Angie Cruz, I think 2 years ago. It was also nominated for the Women's Prize, I think even shortlisted 2 years ago. And this was an immigration story of young women coming to New York in the 1970s. Very good story, very well told by Angie Cruz. And now she's here again with another Dominican book, with another New York book in Dominican, with a Dominican touch. And this is How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz, published by Flatiron Books on September 13 of 2022. Set in New York City, this taut and poignant novel centers on a 56-year-old Dominican woman grappling with motherhood, acceptance, and loss in the midst of the Great Recession as she unburdens her life story to a career counselor. Yeah, Angie Cruz has some kudos with me and some points, and I would really want to look at this book. The next one is number 5. It's from Pakistan. It's a thriller from Pakistan. We don't get many thrillers from Pakistan. This is one, The Return of Faraz Ali by Aamina Ahmad, published by Riverhead on April 5, 2022, and one of the 100 most notable books of the year from the New York Times. In this quietly stunning debut novel, a mid-level police officer in Lahore, Pakistan, is sent to cover up a girl's murder in the red light district where he was born. The characters feel real, as does the violent collision of their scheming and resignation, the depths of their wanting. Then, a great historian, he's from England, he's living in England, but his name is as Finnish as it could be. Pekka Hämäläinen is an Oxford historian. He is one of the greatest historians, living historians of native North American life. And his new book is Indigenous Continent, The Epic Contest for North America by Pekka Hämäläinen, published by Live Right on September 2022. The author, an Oxford historian, recasts the history of North America from a Native American perspective, making clear that native tribes controlled the continent for millenniums. Quote, on an indigenous timescale, the United States is a mere speck, unquote. One of the best books ever written on North American history. Pekka Hämäläinen is a great guy. He has won lots of awards, and he is really someone to cling to. Number 7 is also very interesting, Son of Elsewhere, a memoir in pieces by Ilamin Abdel Mahmoud, published by Ballantine Books on May 17 this year. Abdel Mahmoud spent the first 12 years of his life in Sudan, Africa, identifying as Arab when he thought about his identity at all. When he emigrated to Kingston, one of the whitest cities in Canada, he quickly learned he was black. Life in a new country brought with it discomfort, but also possibility. And the last book is another nonfiction book that I really would love to get my hands on. I don't know if I get it from the library. I'm really thinking about consumerism, about buying all the books I'm interested in. So I don't want to buy so much books next year. I will make some kind of promise to myself and to you about that by the end of the year, but I might get it this year. This is The Trayvon Generation by Elizabeth Alexander. Also, she is an awarded author who has won a lot of awards. Published by Grand Central Publishing, April 5 this year. The poet and scholar Elizabeth Alexander traces the effects of systemic racism and trauma on those who have grown up in the past 25 years, and a profound and lyrical meditation on race, class, justice, and the ways young people have processed those issues through literature, music, dance, and especially visual art. 8 great books out of the 100 most notable books. I put a link to the 100 books down there in the description box, but these were the 8 that caught my eye I hadn't heard of before. Some of them I have heard before, some of them I've even read and I'm proud about it. But I didn't want to talk about them, but about my discoveries, which may be your discoveries as well. So, the last thing I want to talk about today, and this is going to be a longer video, 18 minutes already, is Booktube. Hello, Booktube. I'm not watching so many Booktube videos of you guys out there than I should do. I should watch more Booktube, but I have a couple of people in my, I would say, community where I leave comments, where I get comments from, where I leave comments, and my favorite channels, and I'm not going to name them all here, but I just watched also the number of their subscribers and how the channels develop. And this is very interesting over the year, because I have one mark here from February 7, 2022, and then I watched again at the number of subscribers of these channels 9 months later in the end of November, on 28th of November in 2022. And which channels grow the most? What do you think in my vicinity, and which channels do I recommend? Of course, there's the great Eric Carl Anderson. Everybody knows him. He's such a great guy. He's doing so many videos about new books all the time, and it's really a pleasure to see Eric's videos. He has grown by 3,900 subscribers to 29,600 this year, and which is a quite good number of growth, 3,900 in like 9 months. But there are some other people who have grown even more. Willow, who is a British and English booktuber, they have grown enormously this year. Books and Bow is their channel, and they have grown from like 11,000 to 21,600, almost doubled the number of subscribers. 21,600 subscribers now for Books and Bow, and congratulations to you, Willow. You have such a great channel. I love, especially when you do videos about Korean, Japanese, Chinese literature, a lot of expertise on the East Asian literature, but also on other stuff as well. But this is my sort of corns, the corns that I'm picking from your channel all the time. Then a great idol when I started on Booktube was always, and it still is, the Poptimist from Canada. Your videos are so inspiring, and here we have also from time to time good tips about Korean literature. This channel has grown by 1,400 subscribers this year, not so much, to 14,000. And sometimes you don't understand why some good channels sort of do not grow anymore, and some other channels who are also good, but on the same level, I would say, to me, same kind of meaning, they grow enormously. Congratulations to Brian, a great guy from Texas who's very famous here on Booktube with his Saturday Hodgepodge. I think everybody who is in my line of Booktube has seen some of Brian's videos or seen them all. He has absolutely doubled his number of subscribers from 3,200 to 6,430 in these 9 months. That's an enormous growth. Congratulations to that. Like KD Books from England, from Wales, I think the guy is from Wales. He is calling himself the Booker Boy, and he has this Discord server where he's talking about Booktube and mostly about the Booker Prize and reading all the Bookers and Booker all the year on KD Books, if you are interested in that kind of stuff, which many people are. If I look, Karen Evans, who's now the roving reader, she has more than doubled her number this year from like 1,000 in February to 2,380. That's a rise of 1,370. Congratulations. And another channel that I would like to mention here is, hold on a sec, is the Rambling Raconteur. I think that's Jack from Arizona, who has gained a lot, 1,150 plus, which gives him 2,630 right now. Look at his channel, great. He's also somebody who's not very trendy, which I respect a lot. He's just picking the books that he is interested in and doesn't follow the new releases that much and the awards that much, but always picking up great stuff, great literature, even from other countries than the US or the UK. And finally, a great channel that has doubled its number of subscribers, and Jolene does so much for Canadian literature. That's Bookworm Adventure Girl from Canada. She has 835 subscribers now, but she has gained 414 over the course of this 9 months, which has almost doubled her subscribers. And the reason is very clear, because she is the ambassador of Canadian literature. If you're looking for Canadian literature, go to Jolene's channel, Bookworm Adventure Girl. She's so engaged, enthusiastic about Canadian literature. It's just amazing. These are the channels I want to mention. I have some other channels here, and don't be disappointed if I don't mention you. But these are the ones that have gained so much and that I'm very happy for that they have done so. And this was the video of today, actually. I am keeping on reading my 3 books, and even 4 or 5, actually. But these 3 I'm pretty much active these days. The Christmas days are starting. I hope you have a great season if you are celebrating Christmas. If not, have a great holiday season, because the Christmas is so commercial that it also affects the rest of the world. People who are not celebrating Christmas, everybody's affected by it, I guess. Even in Bangkok, Thailand, they put up Christmas trees in the hotels for the tourists coming from European countries or from the US. I will stay here in Stockholm, Sweden. I will read, And hopefully I will finish more than 50 books this year. I'll see you soon on the channel. Thank you very much. Good night and goodbye from Stockholm.